Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, where the latest in real estate news, sharp commentary, and expert market analysis come together. Hosted by Tracy and Tigo Venturi, the dynamic duo from one of New Mexico's top real estate teams for over 2 decades. Albuquerque Real Estate Talk starts now.
Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 503, end of August 2024. We're sneaking up on Balloon Fiesta, Tracy. We've got a special thing we're doing on our social media regarding the Balloon Fiesta. We own every single balloon print
poster
for
every year since they've been making them.
Yeah, since the official poster started in 1979, we have them all here in our office on Alameda, but we're going to be putting them out and doing a little thing. So watch for that on our social media channels. And we're looking forward to Balloon Fiesta about 30 days out. So a couple other things. We've got the gold standard on home price appreciation data just released for quarter 2, 2024. I'll go through that for the Albuquerque market. Mortgage stats. I did a deep dive into some mortgage data, Tracy. I know you saw what I did, and I want to go into that because there's actually some surprising information there I want to share with folks. Mortgage rate forecast. There's a bunch of new forecasts out. And Tracy, you have a story about just when you're getting ready to sell your home and setting your price, some things to consider. And also you're going to talk about the 1 in 10 rule.
Yeah, the 1 in 10 rule. I guess I'd never heard the 1 in 10 rule. So I look forward to sharing that with everybody because it makes sense.
It just, it's a term that I'd heard out there before. And I thought it was interesting with everything going on. A lot of mortgage stories this week. And this is Tigo and Tracy Venturi Group, real broker here in Albuquerque. We're at 505-448-8888, episode 503. Let's talk about that 1 in 10 thing because there was more mortgage news this week. And in that, mortgage rates have continued to pull back a little bit. So we're in that mid 6 range right now, or even under 6.5 in some cases for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is the lowest we've seen in over a year.
And for the New Mexico first time home buyer down payment assistance program, they're at 6% for people who qualify. So a really great time to think about looking at homes for sale. So the 1 in 10 rule, Tigo, is a rule in mortgage when mortgage rates as a general guideline, suggesting that for every 1% increase in mortgage interest rate, a buyer's purchasing power decreases by approximately 10%.
Or the opposite.
So I was going to say, so what happens if it's the opposite, right? If it goes down by 1%, does your purchasing power go up by 10%?
Yes.
So now that mortgage rates are down about 1%, your buying power is higher.
Do you have an example of what that means to somebody like on a mortgage?
Sure. For example, a $440,000 house. I know you gave me this example, but why 440? I don't know.
Because the math worked good.
Okay. So a loan at 7.25% is $3,000 a month, and at 6.25% is $2,700. So it's $300.
$300. So exactly.
So that's why you chose $440,000.
That's why exactly. So it was just a good example. Yeah, $300 a month.
So the 1% lower interest rate was $300 a month. So
on a $440,000 loan.
Yep. And this was not on your list, Tigo, but I can't help but say it. If you locked in and you bought a house in the last year or so and you paid 7 or 8 or over 8% interest rate, we know some people paid mid 8s or higher because of their credit or their job history or whatever. It's not too soon to think about refinancing. So if you want to talk about that, we'd be happy to hear from you and help you with that.
Yeah, the general rule is 1% decrease in whatever your current mortgage rate may make sense for you, but you got to do the math.
And you have to be planning to stay in your home.
Yes, exactly.
You don't want to do it if next year you're going to sell. Because there are some costs involved in refinancing, and they usually put those into the loan. You don't usually have to come out of pocket to refinance. But the other thing, Tigo, is for higher priced homes, the 1% rule goes out the window. It could be 0.5% on a higher price loan if you have a high mortgage on your property. Even 0.5% decrease in the interest rate can make a big difference and make it make sense. So we're on the way there for people that want to refinance out of some of those loans. And a lot of people had a buy down for the first year. A lot of our builders said, hey, we'll buy that rate down to this number for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So if you're thinking your rate's going to jump up because of a rate buy down that was temporary, might be good to start thinking about refi. One of our great local lenders, Tigo, they do the refi at their expense stuff for free if you did the loan with them. So there's lots of things to know.
Yeah, you need to check with whoever your loan servicer is or whoever did your loan originally and see, because there are a lot of programs out there. I will tell you, just inside real estate thing, mortgage people are looking for business. There's not a lot of business right out there right now, and so it is competitive, and you can see what they're offering because they are trying to get those refinances on their books. So think about that. Since we're on mortgages, let me just go over this. I just got the latest mortgage rate projections. And when we talk mortgage rates, it's generally a national phenomenon. Whatever is going on nationally affects is pretty much everywhere. There can be some slight variations state by state, but for the most part. But we got the data from Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, National Association of Realtors, and Wells Fargo. And if to make a long story short, they're projecting a little bit of decrease into the fourth quarter of this year, which is coming up pretty quick. October.
August. Yeah. You're already talking about
fourth quarter.
It's only August. You're talking about October and Balloon Fiesta to start the show.
I know. I'm
jumping ahead.
I know. And it's interesting. What we're seeing is Wells Fargo is saying 6.25. Mortgage Bankers Association is saying 6.5 by the end of the year. In some cases, we're already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And depending on what the Fed does with their rate cut here in September, that may or may not have any impact, but we'll be watching. The big takeaway was that most of them are seeing right around 6, or they're projecting right around 6 for 2025, most of 2025, and maybe get into that, what they call the 5 handle under
high
6.
Fives.
Yeah, the high 5s later in the year.
5.
High 5. Conservative projections on mortgage rates in the sense that nobody's projecting really big moves. But to be fair, predicting mortgage rates is a fool's game because so many things influence what happens with mortgage rates, macroeconomics, the election, economy. It just goes on and on. So it's difficult to project anything a year out, but we'll see. We'll see. So I thought it was interesting anyway to share. Can I do this on the home prices?
Okay.
I always love getting this one. It's from Fannie Mae, it's from FHFA, which oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? Which
Federal Housing Finance Agency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what they do a quarterly report on home price. They call it a home price index, HPI. And they look at the entire country, look at the top 100 markets, which we're like 72, I think, in size in the country. And they give you what happened with home prices. And the thing I always like about this is because it validates what I've been saying for a couple months now, which is home prices have continued to appreciate year over year in the Albuquerque area. Definitely not as fast as we saw back in the crazy days here a few years ago. But right now for quarter 3, let me make sure I've got the right number here. For quarter 3 of quarter 2 of 2024 versus quarter 2 of 2023, Albuquerque had a 5.25 year over year price appreciation. And that's right in line with what I've been seeing, Tracy. And I'm going to go back to another chart here. Stay with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me find it. Here it is. Okay. And so what we're seeing is, 5.28 is what we're seeing year over year. Month to month, quarter to quarter, from first quarter to second quarter, was 2.26 from
percent up from the first quarter.
Just from the first quarter to the second quarter. So that's a pretty big move in one quarter. I think we're going to see flattening as we go through the year, just based on other data I'm seeing, pending data, what homes are under contract for. But I just wanted to share that home prices continue to appreciate in the Albuquerque area. And I'll give one last thing on that. I did a sneak peek. We're at the end of August, but I did do a sneak peek of what happened with August home prices so far. And we're going to see price appreciation and price per square foot, but I think we're going to be off our median price from July. Not unusual this time of year to see median price pull back a little bit, but price per square foot is going to be up again, and it's going to be up again year over year for sure.
Tico, let's talk about best real estate markets from an investing perspective.
Okay.
Nice report came out about how to make profit in your home over the long run, right? Whether it's for you to live in or for investment. And they ranked cities, current home price, where you could buy and what the factors are there, and affordability and economic ranking, and some of the top markets of where they felt were good investment opportunities right now. Some of these cities really surprise me because there are places that I think have appreciated a lot. But what's interesting is in the top 25, in the top 30 that they mention, there's nothing in New Mexico on that list. But what's interesting to me, in the top 25, there were 5 cities in Arizona on the list of places to invest.
Interesting.
So Chandler, Gilbert, Surprise, Tempe. Let's see, there was another one.
I don't
that
know.
was
You
in
could
the
pretty
top.
much call Chandler, Gilbert, Tempe the same place, but okay.
You could. But 5 of the top 25 were Arizona. But then there was a ranking by city size, and Albuquerque was considered a large city, and it was number 50 on this list of places that they felt were very good for investment long term. And they were looking at more than just, do I like the house? Is it in a good neighborhood? It was really about a future appreciation for the home's value. So it was interesting. I always love seeing stats where Albuquerque comes up. I was looking for Albuquerque right away.
Yeah, no, I do too.
New Mexico.
Anytime I see a ranking thing, I'm always curious. Obviously related to housing in particular, I'm always looking at that. And we're in the middle of a lot of things when you look at it. When you look at like price appreciation, for example, we're right in line with the national averages. Right, we're not the highest, we're not the lowest, and it's been that way for many years in our market. We just chug along.
So, Tigo, that reminds me of something. You went to the National Association of Office and Industrial Properties luncheon this week, and you came back and you told me something interesting. So you said, "Oh, we're the donut hole," and I was like, "We're the donut hole." That was the theme from
you know who was
Dale
presenting?
Decker.
Yeah, Dale Decker was presenting,
Right.
which of course I think most people in Albuquerque that have been around know who Dale Decker is. But yeah,
Decker, Parrish and Associates Architects.
Well, it's now Decker now.
Decker Architects, right?
Yeah.
So Dale's just been around forever, and in architecture, just huge knowledge. So he did a presentation, and it was all about, we're like the middle, right? There's Arizona, there's Colorado, there's Texas. They have all these things going on, and we're in the middle of that donut hole.
I do have to say, from an economic development standpoint, it was pretty sad, to be honest with you. I think most of us here that understand the business climate in New Mexico, it was sad to see. There's just a lot of challenges, and we as a state need to be competitive against Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, right? That's when we compare, and you could add Nevada in that as well, and Utah. Anyway, we've got some work to do. And I think that a couple of things that jumped out at me since we went down this was, one, that we're losing our kids. And I think a lot of people in New Mexico have known that for a long time. The kids are moving away.
Especially the brain trust, right?
Yeah.
The kids that are getting high education type jobs, they're going away for school sometimes, or they're getting picked off of our New Mexico colleges.
Yeah, and they're not finding they need job wise here. So that's unfortunate. Our son is actually an example of that. And I keep telling him, no, you'll be back. You'll be back.
Yeah. Or we'll be there. One of the two.
Yeah, no. That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
So yeah, it was an interesting presentation, and we appreciate that. And just like anything, there's always some challenges, and there's a lot of people working for solutions. So that I'll give that as the pot out of all of it. Taxes, for actually property taxes, we're really good, actually better than many. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was one thing we're good at.
Tigo, let's talk about mortgages and cash owners and things. I was thinking the other day, I've been doing real estate for 22 years, and I was wondering if any of my home buyers from 22 years or 20 or 18 years ago have paid off their mortgage yet. Those 30-year mortgages that you think you're never going to get to the end of. We've told our listeners many times that if you make an extra payment every year, or if you go to biweekly mortgage payments, or you make a little $100 extra every month on your mortgage payment towards your principal, you could theoretically pay your mortgage off in 22 years, even if it's a 30-year mortgage, by just paying a little extra every time or every year. And so it's 22 years I've been doing real estate, and or just over. And I'm wondering, maybe some of those people I sold houses to way back in the very beginning of this great career have paid off their house. I bet they have.
And you thank you for setting me up for this, because I went down the rabbit hole big time on this the other day, the other evening at home, and what I started digging into was, okay, what's the status of everybody in Albuquerque that has a mortgage? But first off, we had to determine, okay, how many homes are there in Albuquerque?
You're talking about Albuquerque proper or the metro area?
When I say Albuquerque, I'm talking the metro, so the MSA, or the basically what we can consider greater Albuquerque areas. We can go, let's just say it this way: east to Moriarty, west to basically west side Albuquerque, south to Belen, maybe Jorales, and then north to basically Algodones, right? So that's that whole thing, including Placitas, including Rio Rancho. So that's what we consider the metro Albuquerque area. What I did is I found, and I had to dig into a lot of different data sets, because sometimes this information is just not that easy to find, and you got to trust county tax records and other stuff. Long story short, I found that 39%, this is the headline, 39% of the 312,000 homes in the greater Albuquerque area have no mortgage.
39%, more than 1 in 3.
Free and clear. More than a third.
So I know this isn't your topic, but that just blows my mind. And what it means to me is, if I go down a street, I go one house, no mortgage. 3 houses later, no mortgage, just as a mental picture.
That's a great reference.
But you know what people have been saying? It's going to be, every third house is going to be in foreclosure, right? That's what the world seems to think about. Not all these people own their house free and clear, and they probably bought it 20 or 30 years ago for a pennies on the dollar right now, right?
I'll tell you even something more interesting. If you go here, get this. If you go to Valencia County, so Valencia County, a little more rural,
Los Lunas,
Jorales,
Belen,
all those areas.
Belen.
When you have more manufactured homes there than you do in, let's say, Albuquerque, for example, guess how many of those homes are free and clear?
I don't want to guess, because I know I'll be wrong.
Of course you will. 56%
are free and clear.
More than half.
In Valencia County, more than half.
And guess
own
how
their
many
house.
in Torrance County?
Okay, now I really don't know.
So, and to be fair, now Torrance County, obviously very rural.
This is like Mountain Air,
Estancia,
not Edgewood.
Yeah, not Edgewood. Edgewood is Santa Fe County.
Right.
But Torrance County, there's only, what I was able to figure out, there's about 4,600 homes, residences, obviously lots of farms, lots of ranches. But 78% of those homes in Torrance County are free and clear.
Wow. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, it surprises me, but it doesn't.
A lot of generational.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go back to the main thing. So again, we're looking at the entire metro Albuquerque, 312,000 homes, 39% are free and clear. But then I also broke down, okay, of that 60, what is that, 60%? Did I do that right? 61%.
Yes.
Did I do that right? Did I do the math right? Man, I can math. 61% that do have a mortgage, this is how it breaks down by mortgage rate. 31% have a 4% or less than 4%
interest rate.
Okay. So of those people that have a mortgage, they're sitting really good. So they're under 4%, where today's going rate is, let's say, 6.5%. 17% have a 4 to 6%. So they're in that middle range, still lower than the current mortgage. And only 13% have 6% or greater on their mortgage. So you could say that of those, again, 61% that have a mortgage, good portion of those are 2/3 of those are sitting really good on a mortgage rate.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the story of the lock-in effect that we've been talking about now
Yeah.
for a while.
Going back to the 6% or greater, those are the people that should be watching rates for refinance. It's
Absolutely.
crazy when we see some stats that show how many people have like a rate over 8 that or 7 that never refinanced when they were down under 4.
And another piece of data I was able to pull, of the people that have a mortgage, only 6% of them have equity less than 20%. That's
Wow.
considered low equity.
That's big news.
Yeah. So really what that means is homeowners in the Albuquerque area, and this is true nationwide, but homeowners in the Albuquerque area have the best balance sheets they've ever had. They're either free and clear, they've got a low mortgage payment, and they've got a lot of equity.
Wow.
And anybody talking about the crash that's coming, they need to reconcile that data.
Yep.
And I can't. And so there's my soapbox for the week.
Yep.
And Tracy, you know why I've done this, right? Is because in 2008, we were in real estate. It was a tough time for a lot of people. And I feel like, gosh, I wish I would have dug into the data more and been able to like see it a little bit better. A lot of smart people missed it in 2008. A lot of people did not, though, too.
Right.
But that's why I dig into this stuff, because I'm just fascinated by it. And I want to know, and I want to educate what's going on with the real estate market. Okay. Homes of the week, Tracy?
We have one coming that is on the market as of today in the Northeast area on La Cueva. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home for $450,000. So look for that one. Hot property there. We have a few other properties with open houses. Just get on our website at welcomehomeabq.com and jump to the open house tab, because you'll find the ones we're doing as well as all of the ones across the city. But again, you guys know the best way is just to call us and we'll set up your own tour on your time and show you the houses you want to see. We'd be honored to do that. We appreciate you reaching out to us directly. 448-8888 is the number. You know it.
You were waiting for me to say it, weren't you?
I was. I need that jingle still, right?
Yeah, we need the jingle.
We need this. It'd be really easy.
Sorry.
Whoa,
Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody. Sorry about that. Tracy, this was a story that's floating around out there. It was number one mistake home sellers make when they're getting ready or selling their home.
Number one? Do you want me to guess?
I wouldn't call it the number one, but one mistake that sellers do make, and I get it, it's human nature, but it's not getting the list price correct.
Yeah, I think that the number one or the top things of home sellers' mistakes is not spending enough time getting ready for their house to be on the market and pricing it properly for the market.
This year, we've been reporting on it here over the last 3 or 4 months, which was the number of homes that reduced price before it sold was at an all-time high based on the data I have. And that goes back a long ways. It doesn't go back to 2008 and 9, but price reductions, people were just having to reduce price this year because they were not getting the price that they were hoping for, or at least listed it at.
Right. And a lot of times as realtors, we talk about the CMA, the competitive market analysis or the comparative market analysis. And I go, okay, I don't like to call it that. I like to look at relevant sales. Relevant sales are properties that might not come up in a traditional market analysis. They might not be right in your neighborhood, your size, your condition, but it might be relevant because it might be in your neighborhood, but it's not the same size. And it might be something, a lot of times when we're showing homes to people, Tigo, they don't want to just see one little neighborhood. I'm all over the city with the same people sometimes, right? And so when you look at relevant sales, you're going, okay, what else are they going to find maybe 2 neighborhoods over or just over the line of one city to another city? So we really want to look at relevant sales.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Many times when we first learn as realtors and real estate agents or brokers to do a market analysis, we're told, okay, look at the house that you're looking at and find homes with a half-mile radius if you can that are within 10% of the square foot and have the same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms. And okay, that's all fine and good. And that's how our appraiser does it as well. But that's not how a home buyer shops for homes. A home buyer shops for homes by the features that they want and then comparing it to other homes in the same price range that have the similar features. And that could be, like you said, it could be very different. It could be in Rio Rancho. It could be in Northwest Albuquerque. It could even be in the Heights, for example. And so it just really depends. So you have to look at the broad picture and not just your area. And a mistake I see a lot of happens a lot is you will look at just what things sold for and the price they sold for and use that as our comparison for pricing a home or establishing a list price. You have to look at what things pended for, when they went pending, how long they were on the market.
Right.
Also, what is on the market? What's your current competition?
Exactly.
I think that's one that gets missed a lot.
The current competition is really important. And like I said, not just your little hub of a neighborhood. It's people look in more than just one little hub usually, unless they really need a specific school or to be by a friend or family member. They're looking in a lot of areas. So,
for sure. I know you've had tours where you've taken somebody and you showed them Placitas, and on the same day you showed them the East Mountains.
Yep.
And that's that. You can't take the back road easily.
No, and it's not a good way to go the back road.
Yeah.
I've been on South 217 to East Mountains North, all the way to Paco or San Pedro Creek, and to Placitas, even though it's really a stone's throw over the mountain, Placitas from like San Pedro Creek or Paco.
That's a pretty amazing stone.
Yeah, that would be a big stone. I have driven that road before.
Yeah.
But it's not a pleasant ride. And in the winter it's closed, so you can't do it.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting though, those
up and over
very
the mountain.
Similar, especially North 14 or north the Paco, Sandia Park area compared to Placitas. Similar in a lot of ways, big views, rolling
bigger
hills,
land,
big lots. So yeah, it's interesting.
Similar and different. And a lot of times it's people looking for that larger piece of land and the big views and things. And it's so different when you start talking about access to city and services and the airport and different things. They're fairly similar, but like the East Mountains has groceries and restaurants more so than maybe Placitas, although Bernalillo's closed.
Bernalillo's got a lot going on. Yeah.
They're very similar, but that's why we show both of those in the same day. It's not just one time that happened. That happens pretty regularly. And it's always fun because we plan a break in the middle of the day to get a drink or use a bathroom or whatever because we're out and about.
One of the things that I think is pretty cool about the Metro Albuquerque area is that we do have a very diverse options for home buyers in where you want to live and what type of amenities and what type of surroundings. I'm trying to come up with the right words. It's okay. How do you compare Cedar Crest and Sandia Park to Northeast Heights Albuquerque? They're just very different.
There are a few things we don't have. We don't have lakefront property where you can have a boat and a dock and go water skiing.
True.
But we have a lot of other things. So a lot of people think of New Mexico as we've got all this land. So I want 10 acres or 50 or 100 acres with this house, and I want to be within a half hour of the airport. And I go, we don't have a lot of stuff like that. We have small half acre, 1 acre. San Pedro Creek Estates is 10 acres, but there's not a lot of places where you can get a huge amount of land.
In the East Mountain, obviously, East Mountain, when we say East Mountains, that's a huge area, right? Very general. But yeah, you can find 10, 20, even 40 acre, 100 acre parcels, but it's going to take some work to make it work for you.
Yeah.
All right, Tracy, there it is. End of August, 2024, episode 503. And we appreciate everybody that listens. If you've got any questions, you can always ask them on our YouTube where we post this, and obviously subscribe if you're watching us or listening to us on YouTube, and ask questions there. I try to respond when I can and give good answers. So I appreciate everybody chiming in.
All right. See you next time. Talk to you soon. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. We appreciate you. And please click subscribe. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with real estate in the Albuquerque area and New Mexico, and of course, across the entire country. Have a great one.